Alright, here it comes. Guys, it's part 3 of this daily USC Esports. It's the Trojan logo, but he's wearing like a headset, not a phone, which is what I'm pantomiming. You get it. We've been looking at MMA and his brilliant way in which he tries to exploit the little edges in life. Tries to whittle his opponent away with these aggressive dropping things. Now, one thing that is of course rather common, I'm sure many of you know about, is the good old switcheroo to the what's it called? To the Zealot High Templar tech. Is it not amazing that those words were not already at the tip of my tongue? So this tends to be one of the scary, difficult mega times for the average Terran player. How on earth do you deal with a Protoss who's going for these Colossus, and when you're going for your crazy Marine Bio Viking Force, suddenly Templar pop out? Well, MMA's been doing all the usual sorts of droppings and pickings away, Zet. But obviously MMA has stopped doing that for the time being. He's completely halted on going for the aggression and the drop. And that's because at the start, when his opponent had these varied techs and not a lot of units, there was that vulnerability. And MMA basically just did 2 pushes and then just halted and then chilled. Now this is just normal, good practice. This is normal, just good logics. Going for the double starport at this point in time to try to flood Vikings. That will exploit a player who stays for Colossus too long. But what do you do against a player who's doing the tech switch all the way on over to High Templar as well? This is, I think, the big moment in the late game that catches all Terran players off guard. Do I go for the Colossus kill or do I go for the Templar kill? Or excuse me, do I go for the kill when he's on Colossus, or do I wait until he has Colossus and Templar and try to just be good with control there? Well, alright. Here is a moment in time where we can do an either-or statement. Either he keeps building only Colossus and Stalkers, gets a big army, or he keeps a smaller army and does a tech switch into this High Templar stuffs. Which, in this game, is actually what's happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back just a moment until we could say reasonably comfortably this either-or is about to begin. I would say at this part, we don't really see any clear upgrades that would indicate if he's doing one thing or the other. There's 1-1. We see 2 Colossus. We click. We don't see range. Could be on the way. We definitely don't see any Templar. We don't see Zealot leg speed at all. Okay, so what then? What then? What we're going to see MMA do is just do... He's going to prepare the big transition into lots of Vikings. I think he accidentally just misclicked there and canceled that thing. But then does this very smart play, getting a whole lot of extra barracks. Why? Look at the production for a moment. Seeing the production for MMA, we're not getting a huge production of Marines. Or Bio, actually, generally. There's just some Marauders being produced. Oh, look, there's some Vikings being produced. And there's no units being produced. There's none. There's no units being produced. None. There's no units being produced, you guys. Well, there was some Marauders, but nah, let's cancel those. Oh, thank goodness. Wow, some barracks going down. Okay. Now we're starting to make some units again, but it's not a ton. We're not utilizing all the capacity. Oh, now we are. Seems pretty reasonable. And, alright, cool. Now we're back to where we were before. Almost. Notice what we did. We said either he's going for a big Colossus force, so I'm going to get 2 starports, and I'm going to produce Vikings out of them non-stop. Or he's switching to Templar and he can't attack us. If he's switching to Templar and he can't attack us, I don't need much bio. If he's sticking to Colossus and committing to that, I don't need much bio. In the either-or case, the thing that we just didn't need a lot of, for a little bit, was bio. So he didn't build any bio. He saved up his money to get more barracks and to get up the Ghost Academy. See what I mean by oh so small, thin little margins? I think that the most frequent thing that Grandmaster players will do, low Grandmaster players will do in this matchup incorrectly and then follow it up with a, gosh, how come I can't win, is they'll just continue to produce constantly out of all the barracks and be unwilling to make switches like this. It's not to say that every time you see Colossus, you must halt all production or anything by those means. But we see a very nice example of how this is going to provide MMA with a window of opportunity. Let's see it get executed. He's an 8 Purdy. Alright, cool. Pushing on up. There's the Ghost Academy also going down. Capacity is starting to get reached with all them barracks once again. More Archons being produced, etc., etc., etc. Always an ever diligent Terran. He's waiting for the 2-2 upgrades. He's just hanging on out. He does a scan. Bow. Look at this production now. In the production tank, he's only building medevacs. He's switching to the anti-Templar attacks. Okay, nice. Now this is something that's very MMA-esque that I'm sort of fine not doing. MMA does like to do this, and this is just being a real tactical megastar. Being able to identify that there's an opportunity to do these sort of crazy only Viking plays and then march in the back. I'd rather not talk about that sort of thing in this particular game. The important thing is that we have some Zealots counterattacking. We have this force clearly not growing in terms of Colossus, staying fairly still. And look back at the production of home, all the barracks churning stuff out. Medevac production en masse. And the drop being very effective. How nice. MMA has this cushion that he can land on after this sort of tumultuous back and forth. Some crazy cool tactics went on, but what interests me are these buildings. What they're doing in the interim. Retreat, team, fall back. Very often in a spot like this, you will see Terran players avoid getting ghosts and favor blasting out as much infantry and medevacs as possible to ramp up the aggression. That's just sort of a common little theme. I think dishing out a ghost or two be okay here. But generally I like ghosts in bigger armies. So, okay. What would the goal be now? Our opponent is battered and bashed down in economy. The best thing to do would be expand. Yeah, this is no longer ultra thin edges. This is just standard good logic. If you're ahead in economy, try to continue to exploit your lead in economy, and don't commit to any dumb big frontal attacks that are unnecessary. If you're ahead in economy, don't try to win now, try to win later, because the longer you have the lead in the economy, the more ahead that you are. All those barracks that we said to stay nice and active, oh yeah. Extra safety pulling the workers, why does that make so much sense? Because he's totally screwed. I think that's all I wanted to say about this game. A wow woo wop boppity boo. MMA is victorious. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of a risk. I'm gonna close this. Hopefully it didn't crash. I want to briefly take a look at Acheron Waste to see just a little bit of hints. I mean, we obviously don't have time to go through all of it. The daily wound up being a bit swifter than I had thought, but I guess I'll just celebrate by playing some Hearthstone afterwards. Ooh. Doobie doobie doo wop, wop a dippy doo. We're gonna watch Patience do something new. So MMA is going to be doing a different build. He's going to be going Command Center first. Let's try to identify if we can see any little edges that he is sneaking out. One barracks Why is this SCV coming out? Why, it's going to arrive when the cybernetics core is done, so we can see exactly what his tech is without there being a stalker to prevent us to scout. He scouts and says, no, Nexus, okay. Nope, I think he saw the Nexus. Yeah, he saw the Nexus. Alright, checking up here. Any extra gas geyser? Nope, just getting started. Don't see cybernetics core getting active anytime soon. Gonna move around. Okay, so I think it'd be pretty reasonable to assume that there might be something sneaky coming up. Either way, there's no way you can attack me anytime soon, so I'm gonna get the barracks before I get a bunker. I'm gonna get double gas before I get a bunker. SCV is swinging around to do a little bit of counterattacking. Yeah. Same sort of push we saw in game number 1, in part number 1, a small push with Marines, but in this time, instead of being led by a Reaper, it's being led by an SCV to see if there's any threats. These Marines have encountered one. Yay! So I think that, you know, there might be a Marine loss, but, I mean, MMA is so good, he's minimized it down to a single one. And a bunker gets built way late in the game. Stim happening not as early as it has traditionally in the other games, but things are still happening very, very fast on the mineral side. Gas is a little bit behind, but we would expect you to have more gas with a Reaper first opening. Alright, cool. So what has MMA seen? Just stalkers and not much else. He doesn't really have a strong sense of what's going on. So he continues to do these little pushes and continues to be unwilling to move too far out, but throws down a scan and, oh, wonderful, sees all the necessary stuffs. So here comes my favorite part of the entire game. The scan goes down. What does MMA see? A lot of different tech. A Robo, and a Twilight, and a Forge. Oh, the corners you cut, Patience. MMA says, I can cut some corners too. Not only is he going to go for a third command center, but he's going to go for a third command center immediately. Why? There's no way that he can attack me. Oh. What else happens immediately? All the add-ons go down. It's scary to get too many add-ons too quickly, because then we might not have enough units to stay alive. We can easily do that here. Because he's going down too many tech paths, man. We see a Forge and a Robo and a Twilight. I'm even going to scan. No, I'm not. Sorry. I think he does it sometime soon. It looks like he's just killing this off, preparing for later on stages of the game. Going for the early add-ons. Not the crazy earliest medevacs of all time, but a very fine time to get a medevac. Then following up with more barracks. I mean, well, if you're cutting all these tech corners, I'm just going to go hog wild. Get myself all set up, get myself all nice and nestled in my nest with my bases. And it's going to be a big shock when, really there's just like so much stuff done already from the Terran side of things. So now what we are seeing is DTs come up. And I do think that MMA could equally have himself a little bit of a trouble staying alive in this spot. But MMA, just, I love these sorts of medevac drops. They're so consistent and strong. Continues to allow us to get some more medevacs, or excuse me, some more add-ons coming up. I don't know if you are as good as MMA to be able to actually spot and scan all these DTs. There's, you know, more things to say in this game, but I'm looking at the time, and I think it's approximately a reasonable time to take some questions. I just have a ton of respect for how quickly MMA was able to get up this base, based upon everything he saw, and how he was able to cut this bunker. And how he's just accelerating super fast into the endgame death ball bioforce super, super quickly. I mean, the Protoss, who went for a mega fast Forge, only has +1 armor right now, and Terran's gearing up to begin to too. This is just fast. So good. Questions? We're gonna be doing some Paladin tomorrow on the Day 9 Hearthstone Decktacular. Nuke Panda says, Day 9, how would MMA have reacted if he had scouted a proxy Stargate a la SOS instead of a Stargate in Patience's base? Well, so first, we'd have to state, how does SOS do his proxy Stargate stuffs? Oh, that feels so good. If I die as a result of that, it was worth it. Okay. So first, let's ask ourselves a question. What does the opening Reaper see? Opening Reaper will see no Zealot, no Stalker. How have we seen MMA respond? We would refer back to Game 1, where MMA skipped the bunker, went straight for the barracks and the second refinery, the second barracks and the second refinery, and moved out with his Marines. And then used a Reaper to scout everything. So not only would MMA have found it, but he would have had the Marines out there either to directly pick it off, or would have probably likely pulled back into a defensive stance. And a reasonable question is, how do you position the Marines? You can build depots around your base, or because MMA got his second barracks so early, he can simply delay his stim and just build some extra Marines, and then have 5 at his expo, 5 in his main, and hold it off no problem. Will I play some Toe Jam and Earl music? Yes, you got it, Calvatron. Alright, from Covert Muffin. What up, Muffin? You seem like you're in a good mood today. Oh! My biggest difficulty with Terran is defending on a pure bio medevac mixture versus that Robo Templar tech. At the end of the first game, part 3, I often just straight up lose to the counter all and push by the Protoss when I deal significant econ damage. Can you break down how MMA pulled it off without completely losing to the Protoss swing? So first, MMA was shooting for like a critical number of Vikings, which is generally like 8 to 12. You kind of need at least 8 Vikings to really match up against any number of Colossus. Like, even if he has 1 or 3, you just need the damn Vikings up. So we saw MMA constantly sort of bouncing back up to that. Some important things to note are just being able to take out the first line of Zealots really fast. Yeah, because I mean your Vikings are going to straightforwardly shoot down the Colossus. I'm trying to think of some things that are not specific to that game that are notable. Let me do note that if you go to this replay, or day9.2, I think you can get this game and literally look at exactly what he does in that battle. I did that? Wow, I'm amazing. Alright, I'm pasting in the chat right now. There's a link to the replay right there, so you can sort of like look at exactly how the micro's going. The problem is that I have the second game, the third game loaded up, so I'm trying to figure out how to describe what I saw in a way that's useful, instead of like, so imagine this going up and that going down and pulling back and rearranging like that, and that's kind of how it happened. think the biggest things that are set up for the battle is certainly always making sure there's that critical number of Vikings. But I want to give a lot of credence to the mass amount of bio that MMA had. He just had a ton of bio in that attack. Because your front line is almost always going to evaporate real fast. So you need to have more stuffs. Nice yawn. Good yawn. That yawn. The other thing is that with the Ghost Blast, there's not a huge concentration of ghosts. I think most frequently the Ghost is alleged as this unit that is designed to kill ghosts, or designed to kill Templar and remove Templar energy for Storm. But really, EMP's amazing against Zealots. Like, really good. Super insanely good. I don't think there ever needs to be a landing on Templar if you can rip down that first line of Zealots really well. Because once you rip down the first line of Zealots, then it's like super straightforward to like split your whole army up and crush whatever. So I'd probably burble about that. Alright, last question. I'm tired. Briefly about the AHGL, would I consider a Day Knights team to participate? Not unless there's a company called the Day Knights. Yeah, that noise is Tristan, who's right there. Alright. Elite Legends says, oh no. Oh wow, I combined two. I'll answer two of these. Stay the Path 1 says, Day 9, you say adjustments to builds are good, but as a silver former plat player, should I try to make adjustments even though my scouting and reading is weak, or should I stick to the build? Totally just stick to the build. Mechanics are the core. You can do almost anything, and as long as you're landing and nailing your pro production, not missing depots, staring at the minimap, not missing your macro, you're going to win, like 9 times out of 10. It's just mechanics to get to Masters. And then Elite Legends says, Day 9, do you think that a Protoss has an advantage over Terran in the early game? It seems like the Protoss has so many all-ins, yet Terran has none because of the Mothership Core. I think that there's this weird thing that I see a lot of where people say it's unfair that there's so many Protoss all-ins. But the all-ins aren't... They're not terrible to deal with if you just kind of know about them and prepare for them. The fact that Terran doesn't really have any all-ins, I think it's just fine. I mean, it's going to force the Terran players to play a straight-up match, that's for damn sure. But I think that what makes so many Terran players struggle against the variety of Protoss all-ins is the fact that Terrans are not adjusting correctly at all. Like, just not. Most Terran players I see, specifically ones I've had like one-on-one conversations with and like seen their games, they'll have like I said, a build up to 10 minutes, and they're like, this is the build I do. And this build has to hold off Blink, it has to hold off Colossus all-ins, it has to hold off Gateway Immortal all-ins, it has to hold off just a regular Gateway all-in, has to hold those off, and it has to be one unchanging, immutable build. And I'm like, well, just look at what he's doing and change it. And change your play. It's like, well, Protoss doesn't have to do that. That's right, he totally doesn't have to do that. He has a Mothership Core. Should be fine. You can easily adjust his Terran. You have so many more scouting tools. You have Scan. The Protoss has a bad observer that arrives at the Terran base to find out there's no units there. And then you realize that's because they're killing you. Protoss has plenty of annoying struggles. Terran has fantastic scouting and can use it very, very, very nicely. And as Angelfire writes, what are your thoughts on Blizzard making each race easier and easier to play? And then he writes Kappa. See you tomorrow for Hearthstone Decktacular. Have a day.